So I have the Catalyst, which is a great pack. I love the pack, but it's just a little bit too big. I think that I needed it originally to with my hammock setup, but it's really challenging to keep yourself lightweight when you have such a large pack. It's really easy to justify like, oh, I can fit all this stuff in here. So it's a great pack if you need to carry heavier things, but the goal of this through hike is to kind of go as light as possible. I think the PCT really rewards people who can go light and fast.
So you think if you had a smaller pack, you'd be more inclined to dumb down your setup and everything? Definitely.
I mean, when you just have a large pack, it's just so easy to just keep on putting more stuff in there. So it's a great pack, and I think it's going to be really useful for the Sierras, and I'm going to keep it through the Sierras, but I'm actually going to change it out for the Ohm after the Sierras, just to try to lighten my load a little bit and force myself to kind of cut some items out.
These are all ULA?
These are all ULA packs.
What about your quilt?
My quilt is from Hammock Gear, and I love it. It's a 18-ounce quilt and does a great job. It's 850 water resistant down, so
what the comfort rating is? Like
20 degrees is 20 degree down. So it's called the Burr 20 degree Burr or Burrow. It's from Hammock Gear. And so originally I was a hammocker and had a hammock set up. So the Burrow also comes on a ground dwelling one if like people who are going to go to the ground more often, and has a wider, kind of a wider quilt. But since I'm so small and skinny, I can still wrap it around myself and around my pad if I want to, which is really nice. So I love the quilt.
What does that let you do when you can wrap it around?
So it like makes
you can kind of like move around more?
Yeah, it makes a pocket. So, you know, down needs to, the loft, and it traps the hot air. So when you wrap it around yourself and button yourself in, when you move around, your pad moves with you, so it keeps the pocket there. And then I put a liner inside it as well, just in case I roll around too much, so my back isn't exposed. And also I hate changing out my clothes, so I just don't have sleeping clothes. I just go Winnie the Pooh or full-on birthday suit.
What is Winnie the Pooh?
When you
for the viewers out there,
Winnie the Pooh is when you have your top on, so you have your shirt on, and then your pants are off. So Winnie the Pooh, you know, he never wears any pants or anything, but he always has a shirt.
What about, and by the way, you don't have to keep it quick, you can just give me, it's okay. What about your shelter?
My shelter currently.
I know you really like to use your shelter.
Yeah, I love cowboy camping. Cowboy camping is just like, makes you feel in the elements and like you're out there, and it's just so quick and easy to set up. It's really nice, and I don't know, it makes you feel like, I've reminisced on this multiple times. It's like, this is how people used to have to travel. Like, it wasn't their choice, you know. If you wanted to go see grandma or your uncle or your aunt in, like, you know, California, Northern California, this is like really similar, and it kind of like puts you back and makes you feel like the early settlers and stuff like that, like going out on cowboy camping. It's really cool, you know. It's not something a lot of people like to do or even want to do, but until they kind of get on the PCT, it seems like the first couple of weeks everyone was setting up their tents, and all of a sudden people started out cowboy camping. I'm like, yeah, this is rad. And I would say probably 80% of the people I run into cowboy camp now when they can, just because it's so easy, and it's, I don't know, it's nice being able to see the stars and everything and be in the elements.
What was that? You just mailed home a shelter though? What are you getting?
Oh, I have a shelter here. I have an MSR Carbon Reflex 1.
And you just really haven't used it that much?
I've used it like 3 or 4 nights, just because cowboy, you don't really have to set it up in the desert. But I'm planning on using it almost every night in the Sierras because of the cold, not because of moisture or anything like that, because it's going to get down into the 30s, and having an extra wind breaker is really nice. And I like the tent a lot.
So you've used it before?
Yeah, I've used it before. It's not, I don't know how to classify it, if I would classify it ultralight or light, because it's right on the barrier. The lightest setup itself is just over a pound, but with everything included, it's about 1 pound and 7 ounces. So, I mean, most tarp tent shelters are around the same, because the poles are just so ultralight. And it's nice because it comes from a big brick and mortar kind of place, MSR. So, and you can get it at RAI. So if you have issues and stuff, the return policy is really great on that. Oh, this chef. Hey, what's up, chef?
What are your thoughts on the desert?
So done with the desert.
How come? How come?
Let's look at my pale complexion.
I have the Osprey Exos for my backpack. and I have an REI 20-degree women's down bag. And for my tent, I have a Big Agnes Fly Creek Platinum 1. And how do I feel about all those? So the bag, the backpack, the Osprey Exos, beautiful. Light, comfortable. It's amazing. I wouldn't change it. Definitely. Like, if anything, I would just go a size down because I have the 58. I would go down to the 48. And then the sleeping bag. REI is not big on making things lightweight, so I would definitely like to change that out. I would definitely change it to something lighter, maybe more expensive. Like, I don't even know the names of those bags.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But you want something lighter.
And then the tent. The tent I've only set up like 3 times, so do I really need a 2-pound tent? Probably not. I probably would have survived with just like a tarp. So I would definitely do that chintzy little like 5-ounce tarp by Z-Packs and called it a day. That's it.
So my shelter is a Big Agnes Fly Creek 1. It's an ultralight backpacking tent. I like it a lot. You have to be really gentle with it.
Have you torn it at all?
No, I haven't.
But you've heard stories?
I've heard stories, yeah, and I've definitely come close. When I first got it, I thought, wow, I'm going to be living in that for 5 months, and that's really small. But I like it, and I like it because you can do a lot of different things with it. So you can just set up the tarp and the ground cloth and not have the netting inside. If it's just rainy and not buggy. If it's buggy, you can just set up the tent and you don't have to worry about the tarp.
What's that flashy light on it?
That's a spot, so that's a satellite messenger.
So you just hook it onto your...
There's a pocket up at the top, and I slide it up in the top. My sleeping bag is a Mountain Hardwear sleeping bag, mommy bag.
You know what it's rated for?
Rated at 20 degrees. And that's been fine. That's been super comfortable. And my backpack is an Osprey Ultros, I think it's called, 65. It's probably on the bigger side of the packs that are out here, but it's super comfortable for me. I like the way it distributes weight, and I can carry a lot of weight in there, and it can be really comfortable.
Shelter, I use a Sierra designed Tensegrity Elite, 1 person, uses 2 trekking poles, and I've set it up 8 times probably so far on the trail. So I'm definitely not an expert at pitching it. I could definitely have a better pitch on it. And it's the best livability out of all the other tents I've seen so far, because I can see outside the entire tent on both sides, so I can look up at the stars and see everyone around me if I want to, and then close the windows if I don't want to, and pitch a little awning, which is really nice to stoop and be under shade and shelter and get to see people as they pass by and converse with them and such. And I don't like it when it's really bad with moisture control. It doesn't get a really, really tight pitch on the top, so then you end up with dripping in the middle.
It's single wall, too?
Single wall,
Yeah.
still nylon. And the sleeping bag is also Sierra designed, the Mobile Mummy, which I've loved so far. It's a down, rated at the very bare minimum. I think it's 15, but its comfortable rating is like 20, 25, or 30. But it has armholes, which I absolutely loved, and the zipper's in the middle of it. So it's kind of like a onesie. I can zipper up and put my arms out and put my hood up. It's got a really tight hood, and read and do stuff while I'm in my bag throughout the day, which is great, because I usually run cold. So it's nice to have like that extra massive warmth system and still be able to do everything I want to be doing, and not just like crawl into my sleeping bag and sit docile at the end of the night because I'm cold, and keep on moving. And the pack is a Granite Gear Crown 60, which I absolutely adore everything about it, for sure. I use my sleeping pad, I curl up into a funnel and I give that the structure so it always looks consistent, and then I stuff everything in the inside. It keeps my food from getting too hot or too cold and insulates, and it also is a water protective barrier on everything on the inside, so I don't really worry much about that. And then I just cut a little tiny rectangle to use as the frame. I took the frame out.
I didn't know you did that.
I use my butt pad as the frame, which makes it really malleable. It gives it enough structure to keep it firm and it doesn't collapse, but I can push it and it just kind of forms to my pack or my back.
Yeah, you're definitely dialed in.
I'm carrying a ULA Catalyst, and I got it for this trail specifically, and I have really enjoyed it. It's like not falling apart as far as I know. Now that I'm looking at it, it's got a hole in the back, but that's cool. I have a Big Agnes copper spur Ultralight 2-person tent that I've had for 3.5 years now, and I carried it with me on the Appalachian Trail, and it was perfect size for wet human, wet dog, wet gear, all in one. And I'm a cheap poor hiker, so I didn't get a new tent for my PCT hike. But it's been awesome. People at Big Agnes have really helped me out a couple of times, and
How'd they help you out?
well, when I was in Peru, I was caught in this storm, and basically the tent was blown over, like on my face all night, because the wind was so crazy. And after that, the poles were kind of wonky and it wouldn't pitch taut. So I sent the tent in, and the rain fly was torn, and there were holes in the mesh, and I didn't know if I was gonna have to just buy a new tent. It's kind of like do what you can with it. And for the price of shipping and handling, they gave me like a brand new rain fly, patched all the holes, fixed the poles, like kind of nice, like getting a new tent. So I really like that. Keeps me warm and dry. I have a pretty heavy sleeping pad, but it's like really, really comfortable. The Sea to Summit Comfort Plus something. And I have an Enlightened Equipment 20-degree down sleeping quilt or whatever. Yeah, and I like that also. I mean, keeps me dry, and well, it keeps me warm. I guess it would keep me dry too, but yeah, I would totally recommend that gear, I guess. I mean, I still carry it, so.
So right now I have a Flash 65 pack. It's probably about 8 years old.
Who makes the Flash?
REI.
REI.
Yeah.
I think I might have one of those too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like
5 liters.
Yeah. It's a good pack. It's like my first backpacking pack that I've ever owned. It's seen a lot of miles even before the trip. It's kind of beat up right now, but it's holding up. My other pack that I used kind of like at the beginning of the trip was a Go Light Jam, which is it was like a 50-liter pack, and I couldn't really fit enough food in it.
50 liters isn't a lot.
Yeah. Especially for the longer stretches, like in the Sierras, like where you need like 7 or 8 days worth of food. Like the Go Light Jam just wouldn't be able to take it.
Got it. And what about you got a tarp tent, right?
Yeah, I got a tarp tent, Contrail. It's almost as old as the REI pack, probably about 7 years old. Again, seen like a lot of miles before this. Starting to look pretty ugly now, but I mean, it's still held up with the rain that we had a couple days ago.
Happy with it though?
Yeah, it's, I mean, it barely weighs over a pound. It takes a while to set up, and it sucks to set it up in the wind. Like I'll normally find like another hiker and be like, I'll help set up yours if you help set up mine.
Got it. And then what about for sleeping? Your sleeping bag?
I have again another old REI 25-degree bag. It's been pretty toasty. Like even out here when the weather's like this.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, have you been warm in that? Because it's been getting colder.
Yeah, I mean, I sleep hot. I mean, you guys probably saw me like the past few mornings where I just have like my sleeping bag just like laid over my stomach maybe.